Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. So today we have a special guest, someone you may know or recognize if you've listened back in June, almost a year ago, we had this special person on. So Melissa Gomez, she is actually a pet test technician and owner of the company Essential Pest Solutions. Melissa, are you there?
I'm here.
How's it going?
It's going great. It's a beautiful day over here in the East Coast.
Perfect. Okay, so I want to do a little recap, just if anyone didn't listen or doesn't know you, because they didn't listen to the podcast. How did you get into the industry?
About 8 years ago, a gentleman that I used to work with previous to that, we both used to sell insurance. We both left the company. The company closed down. Fast forward, he bought a pest control company. He came into the restaurant I was working at, sat at my bar. I was going to college part-time, and me and my big mouth said, "Hey, Terry, if you ever need a part-timer, let me know. I'm off on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just have class in the morning, and then after that, I'm free." Boy, did he take me up on that offer. And here I am, 8 years later, doing my thing.
Pest control sucks you in. That's what it does.
Sucks me right in, man.
It's what it does. You get into it, you get that taste, and then you can't get back out.
Oh, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, like I tell everybody who asks me, why do you do this? How did you get into this? I always let them know. Well, first of all, when I was a little girl growing up, I never once ever said, I want to be an exterminator when I grow up.
No one ever.
I don't think anybody does. Like, really anybody. Unless you have a family member that's in this field, just regular, and I shouldn't say regular people, but, it's not something that people really think about. Like, what kind of critters do I have to worry about eventually, in the long run, right now, when I move? How do I, tackle it? It was all of it just kind of sucked me right in, and it's kept me here.
Yeah. Well, so, and that brings me to the next is why? Why have you stayed?
All right. So I, from the time I was a kid, I've always liked to help people. And you would have thought I would have been a teacher. I tried that. I loved it. I got tired of it. I got bored. Mm-hmm. Hey, Melissa, why don't you become a social worker? So guess what? My heart is too soft. I would want to adopt every single kid that came across my lap. That's why I'm not in the medical field either. So
you'd have a house full of kids.
Dude, I'm a softie, and I say it all day, every day. But in the long run, for me, it's not about killing bugs. It's not about pest control. It's really the satisfaction of knowing that I'm helping someone actually, eradicate something that they've been dealing with potentially for years. These people sometimes don't even know how harmful roaches and mice can be. So that's what kept me here. It really, really has. Knowing that when I see someone in, a month and a half from now for their follow-up, they're going to be like, wow, you really changed our life. You changed it because of the little bit of service or whatever you did. It completely changes their quality of life. And that for me is huge.
Yeah. And that is, that's something you don't get in very many industries. And we are lucky enough to be in that one where you can actually go out and help someone and literally change their life. Whether it was because they had bed bugs or they're infested with roaches and they have little kids, or they have a rat infestation or whatever it may be, we're the ones that go out and actually help those people.
Right. And sometimes I really feel like these people aren't aware of how did this all start? How did this happen? I didn't have mice, last year. Why are they in my house this year? The opportunity to educate people on why these things happen, how they happen, and what they can do to prevent it in the future, that's like liquid gold. These people they literally become your friends. They're text messaging me, hey, Melissa, oh my God, I can't believe it. After you came in, I haven't seen a roach in 6 months. That satisfaction, that feeling, I wish someone was there for my family when we were experiencing that when I was a child.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's something that for this month, the month of April, the National Pest Management Month, that's something that I think some of these larger companies are trying to push, like PCT Magazine, Pest World's doing it. But that's something that people don't understand, and some technicians don't understand that because they never get to see it. They may just be a route technician. They're out there running the route. They don't deal with too many people, so they don't understand the value behind what they're doing. But it's there.
Right. And I will say that that I should have mentioned to you before, like that's something that's kind of new for me. I have, since our last, conversation, a lot of my ex-boss's clients have reached out to me because the company that bought his company, they send out technicians. Some of these guys are new to the game. They don't necessarily know how to inspect thoroughly, how to use certain chemicals, what they can or shouldn't, or, and I'm not talking trash throwing people under the bus. Everybody has to have a start somewhere.
Oh, no, and there's some people out there that shouldn't be techs. You can throw them under the bus.
Agree. It's sad. It's sad, but true. And a lot, I was catching up with someone that I know who's a technician, and he was like, going to like a warehouse and just doing their bait stations and then having to go to like a person's house and talk with them. That's a challenge for me, having to go talk to people. And I'm like, really? Why? Because I'm not sure. I'm not confident in what I'm saying. I'm not, I don't have anybody to guide me. So those things make me kind of sad because I was blessed enough to have someone there for me who was guiding me and helping me. And genuinely, I feel like my ex-boss wanted me to be successful because he saw it in me.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I'm glad that you actually mentioned that because that kind of happened to me. Now, I was a little bit different than most. I didn't have someone there to guide me. No one was there to teach me. And I asked these guys. These guys have been in the industry when I was, learning. They've been in it 15. Another one was in it for 10. Another one was in it for 9. These guys knew a lot of the information. And I asked and I asked and I asked, and nobody wanted to tell me anything. And that's kind of where this podcast came from, is because that sucks. This was their advice. I'd ask them a question. How do I take care of ants? Well, you need to go out and run a route for 6 months. Okay, that did not answer my question on how to take care of ants. Yeah, but you'll learn that if you go run a route for 6 months. Okay, there's got to be you got to help me here. And so I'm glad you're mentioning that, because that's the whole point of the podcast too, is to help people and to bring people like you on that can give people this information that they need to know. So that's awesome that you said that.
I love that. You really were out there and you were looking for guidance. And it's like, did you feel everywhere you turned there was, a wall? There was something blocking you? Like,
oh yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Oh yeah, no, and then you go to these, now luckily I have a sales background. I was knocking doors for the pest control company that I now own, but in that time is when I became a technician. No one was telling me anything. And so of course the salesman in me, someone say, hey, I have a problem with this. And I just look at him with all confidence, say, don't even worry about it. I got you covered. I just need to run to my truck real quick and grab everything. And then as I run to my truck, I'm reading every single label, trying to find out what product will work for that insect.
I know the feeling, but you know what? I all props to you, man. Like, you, not only did you have, the gumption to go knock on somebody's door and actually have the confidence, but like, yeah, I got you. Meanwhile, inside you're like, holy crap, I have no idea let me look at this. Hold on. Hey, I'll be right back. I forgot. I have to go get something. Whatever you had to do, you made it work for you. And that is exactly what I am working on right now.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. And kind of to transition, because I've had people reach out to me personally about this, and I want to get into it with you because you lived it from scratch which is amazing. And it was starting your business.
Mm-hmm.
You went from being a technician, working for someone, to starting your own business. And there's a lot of people right now that are listeners that are currently living that right now. They are in working for somebody and they want to leave because of whatever. I mean, what was your reason for leaving?
I had a couple of reasons, not such great reasons, but in December of 2019, I went out because I had a back injury. So December 3rd, 2019 was my last day that I worked for my ex-boss, Terry. I had surgery during COVID. Obviously, COVID happened. And I had surgery in April. And I was recovering. I was feeling very good. And I was supposed to go back, to potentially work with or work for Terry. And then he died. He died in July. And that was my push. Yeah, that was my push. That was it. I had to finalize everything. And, behind the scenes, I do want to add that I do have a business partner. I have a coach. I have someone there who has stood by me for about 7 years now. We've been talking about starting a pest control business, but neither one of us had any idea what we were doing. Turns out my business partner lives in California. Yeah, no, it's not. He's a business owner, and it's not that he does pest control, and it's not that he's great at blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He was great at telling me, Melly, you can do this. What the heck are you waiting for? Let's do it together. And I was awesome. Like, you know what? Yeah, honestly, and I couldn't be more grateful. And my cousin, it's Joel Mercado. He is my business partner, and since day one, this kid has never, ever, ever, ever given up his vision on me, ever. And for someone else to see that in you from the outside really does light that fire and that, that told me, like, what are you waiting for? And why are you procrastinating? Get your shit together and get it done.
That's awesome. And
I still work on every.
Where does he live? Where does he live out in California?
He's down in San Diego.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. I need him. I need him on here. He's the hype man.
You know what? Let me tell you this. We, his family, my family. We're blood cousins, and we've been through it all. We've seen it all, and I really feel like him moving away, him branching out, having businesses and unfortunately failing at businesses has really taught him to be such a humble person and see the positivity in everyone else. He's magic. He really is magic.
I have to correct you, Melissa. Fortunately, he failed, because most people who don't fail, they get blinded and they get prideful.
Yep.
And then that ruins them. So he fortunately failed multiple times to now he knows what not to do. He's lucky.
And that's what we talk about almost every week. People are like, wow, you're so lucky to start your own business. I'm sorry, I'm not lucky. Nobody gave me money to start a business. Nobody gave me any direction or instruction. My parents don't even own a home. My cousin, my younger cousin, reached out to other people, to strangers, and they saw something in him, and he sees that in me. Like, what an honor. How blessed. You know what I mean? Like, I really couldn't ask for anything more. My family, my kids, my partner. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be me. 100%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need the support behind you. You need that. And let's talk about the struggles. Because I talk about it a ton on the podcast is, you did something I personally, I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't do. I wouldn't start a company from scratch. I know what I have to deal with in my company, and I couldn't even imagine what you deal with and what you've dealt with in the beginning. So what were some of those struggles that you ran into? I want the listeners to know if you're going to do this, this is reality. I'm not going to make it all beautiful and sweet. And no, this is literally what's happened. So what happened? What are the struggles that happened to you?
Well, number one, I'm female. Well, I'm sure all the ladies out there know exactly what kind of struggle that is. Yes, I believe 100% in girl power. I have lots and lots of women that back me on that. Believe it or not, I also have lots of women who doubt me because I'm female. Because girls aren't supposed to be into bugs. Girls are supposed to be grossed out by bugs and mice and rats. That's number one. That's like my biggest challenge. I feel like people don't take me seriously until they meet me. And then I'm very transparent. If I walk into your house and your house is messy and you have mice, well, guess what? You're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
That's my number one biggest challenge, being a woman. Besides that, I had no idea what to do. Find a mentor, someone who knows how to obtain your LLC. I had no idea how to do that.
Yep.
You go on Google and there's so many different ways you can do it. I really needed guidance. So my biggest struggle, getting that information, really, really researching. Do you have to talk to a lawyer? Who do you have to talk to? Find another business owner. Find someone you get a good vibe from and ask a zillion questions. Because you're always going to be unsure. Even to this day, people are like, oh, do you have a certificate of insurance? And I'm like, I don't, what's all this lingo? Hold on a minute. Let me double check,
Yep.
So, yeah, ask a million zillion questions. Number one. Number two, get yourself your most reliable vehicle on the face of the earth because you're going to be driving. I love to drive. Thank God, because I live an hour from Philly. I live far from Jersey sometimes. I don't care. If you live 2 hours away and you're having a serious problem and I have another client that's an hour and a half away, I'll take the extra half-hour drive as long as, where you're in Pennsylvania or you're in New Jersey where I'm licensed. Yeah. Make sure you take care of your people. Pest control businesses, I've noticed I feel like even my challenge for me is, everybody wants to have contracts. Everybody wants to get a big apartment complexes. That's residual money. But what about the little people? People that own homes that need quarterly service. People who own homes that are having issues with mice and rats. Guys, don't forget about your little people. They will constantly refer you to everyone, their family members, their church group members, their work, their co-workers. You can't forget about the little people. And that, for me, I see that as a challenge because I understand everyone wants the big picture. Everyone wants the American dream, but you have to start somewhere and you have to start small. You can't be stuck up.
Yeah. Well, and it comes down to the repetition. If you're not treating even the smallest client that you have, the best way possible, how are you going to treat a massive apartment complex? It's eventually going to catch up to you. So you have to treat everybody the best possible way, because that then reflects on who you are, what the culture of your company is, and what you're about.
Yep. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it with us, and I love it every year. Every year we get guys who come out, they knock doors, they take some of our clients away, and I just, in the office, they're freaking out, and they're like, oh, we lost some people, and I'm like, to who? Was it did they take it? Yeah, they switched them over as a salesman. I said, great, they'll be back in a year. They always do.
Yeah.
And they always do. Every time, every year, they call up and they're like, hey, I know I canceled. I'm sorry. I want to come back. I know you do.
Right.
I know the company that you switched to, they suck.
Yep, we are more than happy to have you back. And in the beginning, I shouldn't even say in the beginning. You know what? I started this at my Instagram page just to record and show what I do. I never thought 4 or 5 years later that Instagram would be my bread and butter. Instagram is where I market. Instagram is where I meet people. Instagram is how I started my business. an incredible group of people on Instagram who I follow. They follow me. They support me. They encourage me. We support each other. When I have questions, best believe I reach out to people in California. I reach out to people in Texas. I reach out to people in Florida. I reach out to guys in New York City. I want to know what everybody is using. I want to know what everybody finds to work the best. I'm out there every single day researching. That is another huge challenge when you don't know. You're not sure. My boss always used really old technology. You know what? I'm not with that anymore.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's something that people don't realize as technicians is, well, actually, I shouldn't say everybody because California doesn't have some chemicals out there, but we all have the same resources. We can only get so many different chemicals that's out there. There's no real secret to it. Anyone can buy it. Those companies want to sell all their products to everybody. So, helping each other out is super crucial because we get looked at a lot. So if we start getting a bad rep towards the pest control industry, then we get, then lawmakers start to get more strict. And it only hurts us. So that's awesome that you have people around you to help you and answer those questions.
Yes. And, I feel like becoming an owner operator, setting your own schedule, using your own vehicle, deciding your own uniform. Yes, that's all wonderful. It's liberating. It's awesome. One of the main challenges, though, is how are you going to make money for your gas? You don't have a company credit card that your boss is paying anymore. You don't have a company credit card that buys your chemicals anymore. That's coming out of your pocket. So you best to start saving. You best to start budgeting. Look at your costs. Look at how much you should be charging people. Your friends are your friends when it comes to friendship, but business is business. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. I get it all the time. There's so much out there that people have no idea what they're walking into.
No, and that is very true is, they would be paying for a service to somebody else. And if they're a true friend, they would be paying you anyway. So don't do services for free.
Correct. Don't do stuff for free. I mean, if you want to give people a discount, by all means, go ahead. I bartered services. One of my great friends, I just shared her. She started a scrub line for, skincare stuff. Like, that's okay. That's wonderful. Help your people out because they will help you out. It is your bread and butter. Be transparent with your people.
Yep.
Don't act like you know everything in the world because the second you leave there, they are going to critique every single thing that you did while you were there, everything that you've done now that you're gone, and your results. So if you walk into somewhere and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to take care of this, that, the third, and then 2 weeks from now they're still seeing as, the same thing or more, you really you've shot yourself down. You've lost 3 clients by losing one.
Yep.
I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm 100% transparent. Hey, you know what, guy? This is a conversation I've had with my people. Guess what? There's something new on the market, something I've never seen, something I've never tried. I spoke to one of my associates, and they highly recommend it. Are you okay if I try this at your place? Because I know I'm going to be back in a few weeks for a follow-up. Worst comes to worst, if it's not working out well for you, I'll be back next week. I'll take a look at it, do some more research. I'm 100% transparent with everyone all the time.
Yeah, well, I think that was going to be one of my next questions is kind of what sets you apart. What have you done in your business to be different than the rest? And I'm going to tell you right now, because you don't even have to say it, is that right there is already separating you. Because a lot of the guys will go in there and they say they know everything, and then they walk out and the customer still has problems. And then we get a call and we have to go fix it. So
you have to go fix it. Yes.
Yep.
Lots of fixing. Lots and lots of fixing because of the big guys coming out to do something that they were supposed to do. And Melissa's out there fixing it because, this person has an extreme roach situation. The exterminator comes and sprays the corners of the kitchen and bathroom and leaves.
Yep.
I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I've got my clients looking at me like, wait, what are you walking into my home with all this heavy artillery? I'm like, oh, no, wait, this is for this is for that. And then I use this in here because those are areas that I can't reach with the other, and they're like, oh my God, wow. Okay. I'm never calling, a big box company again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, one thing that I do when I go out and sell, which I'm sure so many people will hate me for it, but I go out there because I just did this actually for a cockroach treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the lady the kind of the process that we do, and I told her the price, and she was like, oh, that's kind of expensive. I said, well, actually, it's not that expensive compared to some of the other companies, but that's okay. I said, but look, I'm just going to warn you right now. They need to be doing this, this, and this. If they don't do those things, they're not going to get rid of your roaches. If they're going to spray once and then come back in a month and spray again, and then, it's not going to work. There's a
Right.
process to it. And I've run into so many situations where people call us up later because they went with someone who's cheaper that didn't do it.
Yep.
And so, I always tell them, I said, I'm like, I don't care if you go with me or not. And that's the nice guy in me, right? I'm like, I don't care. You can go with whoever you want. You want to save $1, go save $1. I'm not going to compromise my service and my price, to get you, but make sure they're doing this. Because if they're doing that, then they'll get rid of it. And that's fine if they're cheaper. But if they're not going to do that, call us up because we will get rid of them. I promise.
Absolutely. And that's, I let people know, like, hey, listen, it has to be ongoing. You can't expect miracles the first time. Yes, I can knock out many, 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 many roaches. I could probably knock out a good 90% of your roaches. But the 10% that are still hiding and not visible to us, they're there. And I have to come back to make sure that I get this done correctly. And when people hear that, they're like, oh, dang, she's not playing. Like, I mean it.
Oh yeah. No, you'll get those people that look at you and they're like, oh wow, okay, you know what you're doing. I'm like, well, yeah, I've done it quite a bit.
Right.
So I sure hope I know.
Right. Yeah, like some people, I swear that's my biggest piece of advice is be real with your people. Everybody understands you have to start somewhere. I'm not coming to your house to poison you guys. I'm coming to your house to poison the critters that are annoying you the most. You know what I mean? Like, all the questions people ask, be patient, answer their questions. If a property management company wants you to speak to their tenants, why won't you? All these big companies like, oh, the technician can't speak to the tenant. You know what? I want to speak to your tenants because they know what's happening in their apartment.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, communication is huge on all levels.
Yep. I invoice people, be 100,000% like describe everything in full detail. Tell them exactly what you did, where you did it, where you put your chemicals, because you never want it to bite you in the behind.
Oh, yeah. No, that is so true. So one thing is, and I know this one listener, he's definitely going to be listening in. What is something that you learned and you started doing recently that you wish you would have done since the beginning of starting your company?
Well, I'm a lot more organized now. So people stay organized all the time. What do I do now? Oh, I don't take a day off unless I know 100,000% that everything for the business is taken care of. And the reason I say that, and it's not that I'm a workaholic, if you're going to own a business, you're going to have to be a workaholic. Every penny that comes into my pocket, I have to earn. And I don't feel that people really comprehend that. Sometimes the struggle is real. You don't get calls. People are doing okay. They don't want to follow up. They can't afford it. You have to be prepared to work 24/7. Your phone is always on. Wake up in the morning. Your first thing is business. How's my bank account looking? Do I need to go repair my car? Is my B&G doing okay? It's constant. If you're not ready, for that sort of responsibility, then don't do it. I hate to say it that way, but if you're not ready for that responsibility, don't do it.
Oh, yeah. And one thing I will throw out is relax to a lot of these people. And they're like, well, how do I relax when I have to worry about everything? No, you can. And the reason why I say relax is when the phones aren't ringing, people aren't calling you, things aren't going that way. It's consistency that always wins. You're not going to get calls every single day. Not yet. You have to wait. And then eventually you'll start getting those coming in and more and more and more. And then you might have a dry spell, even though you thought you were doing everything right. It just wasn't the time. And that's okay. But you just have to relax.
Right. And for those people who want to start a business, took me 7 years, almost 8. I'm going on 8 years being licensed. That's how long it took for me to start a business. From day one working for someone else in this industry, I knew that I could do it. I knew that Melissa should really be an owner operator and not working for someone. I knew I had the skills. But what I also had were young kids. I was a single mom. I had to take them to school, make sure they got picked up, make sure dinner was made every day. So fast forward now, my youngest is 18. My oldest is 21. I feel like I can finally relax when it comes to some of my personal life so that I can take on this huge business venture so that I can enjoy the rest of my life doing what I wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. And that's, I mean, even for me now, I have technicians that are running routes. I have people in place that can do a lot of these things for me. But it's still something, like you said, you wake up every day. You have to check everything. You have to look over everything. You know, if you're not in control, you're out of control. So you have to make sure everything is going smoothly, because you skip something and it could be devastating. So you have to look over everything. Doesn't matter what level you're at, you have to make sure. So that's awesome. So I want to ask a more personal question on the business. Do you have a software system that you use to run appointments and things like that?
So thanks to Joel, my partner.
Yeah.
He really hunkered down, and because he has a couple of other businesses, he's got a wonderful system. As my appointments come in, I get on my phone, throw it into my spreadsheet. I then transfer that onto my Google Calendar, which we both share. We stay, in touch, keep tabs with everything, and I go about my days that way. What I used to have a real problem with was not scheduling appointments. I used to have a real problem with invoicing and billing. When I would get home, I wouldn't get on my computer.
Yeah.
Now I use QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has become my best friend.
Okay.
That's now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. Keep going. You said that's for now?
It's for now. Yeah, for now, because I don't have a huge customer base yet. QuickBooks works. Also because I'm the only technician.
Okay.
I have looked at a couple of other, pest control specific softwares, and I've used one before with my previous company. So it'll be something that we'll have to look into eventually.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, the only reason why I ask is because I know I was in the situation of I was looking at buying a guy's company last year. It ended up not working out. He wanted, it was ridiculous how much he wanted for such nothing, essentially, literally.
Right.
So, but he didn't run off of a system. And when I was talking to him, he mentioned something that he said, well, they're so expensive. Cause I asked him, I said, well, what's your system? What do you run off of? I need to see some numbers. And he couldn't give me anything cause he didn't have anything.
Oh, no bueno.
Yeah, no. And so, but I bring that up because there are really cheap software systems out there. And for anyone who's looking to start or anything like that,
Mhm.
a lot of these software systems will do everything for you, even if you are, one person, you are the tech, you're the owner, you're the office staff, you're accountant, you're everybody, right?
Yep.
There's software systems that are super cheap that you could use,
Okay.
and I'll mention one to you afterwards because they're actually coming on. I'm hopefully going to talk to the CEO of that one and get him on. I'm
Ooh.
excited for that. Yeah, so you'll have to listen in, and but I love their system. I've used them for years, and
Okay.
it's been phenomenal from nothing to where we are, where we have a few technicians running. It's been awesome and a huge help. And
Definitely.
so, but yeah, so I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people, and I even talked to a guy who works for another company. They have 11 technicians and they're running paper.
What?
Yeah. Tell me what?
But
Yeah. I called him and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing filling out some paperwork." I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. What are you doing? You're filling out paperwork?"
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, no, it's
Well,
yeah.
it took Terry a really long time to invest in software and whatever tablets or whatever he felt that he had to get for us. We did paper probably about 5 years, 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. He was very old school, and then this is from experience, and this is why now I don't mess with getting backed up on invoicing and billing. Terry would sit on like a Friday, like a random Friday, and be like, "Do you have time where we can talk about, this account?" And I'd be like, "Dude, I haven't been there in like 4 weeks. What do you want to talk about? I don't remember like what happened." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sending in bills," and I'm like, "No way, dude. Like So that's why now, like the second I leave my account, I sit in the car, write up what I need to write up and send it right away. There's no room for missing out on your money.
No, not when you're starting a business. Not in the beginning, like you said. Who's paying for the insurance? Who's paying for that
Yeah,
vehicle? Who's paying for that gas? And it's ultimately the clients are, but you have to collect it.
exactly.
So it's money that's always there. So is there anything that you would want to mention or tell anybody that is going to break off, from there? We talked about so much so far, but is there anything that you would say to somebody specifically breaking off and starting their own company today?
If you know this is what you are meant to do, if this is your passion, as long as you're not looking at pest control as an easy way to make money or as an easy business to run, like this is serious. You're carrying a lot of responsibility with the chemicals that you're allowed to use, with the things that you are allowed to buy. It's serious. It can be very tricky, and it's not for experimental purposes. If you're willing, you're ready, you're able, you've got money put aside, and you feel the time is right, I would never tell anyone not to take the risk on themselves. But you always have to be prepared to fail. And I feel like that was my last sentence before I really just went ahead and called Lisa from my insurance. I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen if I fail? If I can't afford to have my own business, big deal. I'll go back to bartending. I'll go back to serving. I'll go back to working for someone else. I'll figure it out. But again, make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you have that support that you're going to need when times get rough. On the track. So those kinds of things are,
Yeah.
I think, the most important, really, honestly.
Well, no, you know what? I'm really excited that you have been on. I'm happy that you came on and, you spent this time with us. Thank you so much. and everything that you mentioned. Hopefully some of these guys out there and girls will listen and take that advice and, hopefully not make the same mistakes that we have made. They can learn before they make those terrible mistakes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, also as a business owner, I feel like, being in my 40s, I can handle a lot more of my emotions. Of course, being a lady, where I'm a lot more level-headed and I can tell people, hey, I'm not really comfortable doing that, or that's not going to work out for me. If you're going to be a business owner, I don't even know how, make sure that your skin is thick enough. You're going to encounter people that test you on the daily. And I mean that on the daily, whether it comes from bad attitudes, people doubting you, your own family members doubting you. It happens. Your friends will turn their back on you because suddenly you don't have time. Your whole life will change, sometimes for the better and sometimes for worse. You have to be mentally and emotionally prepared for all of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that, and I think I have one personal experience. I had a lady call and she freaked. She was furious and I want to talk to the manager. I said, I am the manager. Oh, I want to talk to corporate. This is corporate. I said, no, this isn't a corporate company. Well, I want to talk to the owner. I said, well, you are talking to the owner. Well, you're a terrible owner. And she went off. And it was because she was stressed. It wasn't actually an attack against me. And I knew that. And I was very calm with her and I did everything that she needed me to do. And, but you will run into those things. You will run into those situations. And you know what? You do feel like crap afterwards. And you're like, man, what did I do wrong? Why do people hate me? No, people don't hate you. They hate them. They're just taking it out on you.
Yes. And on that, I'm going to take that and run with, always be kind. You don't know what someone else is going through.
No. You're absolutely right. So Melissa, thank you so much for being on the podcast. You want to throw out your social media?
At Lady Exterminator. You guys already know. Come find me.
Oh, I'm sure they already know. I know they're following you. And if they're not, they will now.
Yeah, and for anybody who has questions, any guys out there, you have questions about starting a business, questions about anything, guys, girls, kids, whoever, I really, really, really believe in the power of energy. I really believe in the power of positivity. If you guys are having a shitty day, having a rough one, somebody said something negative to you, you need to pick me up. Reach out to your Exterminator friends. We're always here to, send you a picture of something disgusting or, give you some kind of corny joke to literally make your day better, because we go through it every single day. We really do, with people who are not nice.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Melissa, if you can, so I just started a Facebook group, and it would be awesome if you could join in and talk to some of these people. So it's brand new. And I want to spread the word, because I want that to be a great place to go in and just let everything out. You have questions, go ask the questions. Let's work together. Let's make this happen. We're as strong as the weakest link in the pest control industry. So bring it on. Everybody jump on. Let's talk about stuff, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about it. And let that be an area where if you're frustrated, go in there. Throw it out there. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I'm so with it, because I'm sure a lot of people know this about me already. I never hesitate to ask, hey, what do you guys use to seal up holes? Hey, what do you use for this situation? Hey, what's your best technique for this, that, and the third? I'm not shy to ask, and no one else should be. We should never criticize our people for asking questions. We should all be supportive. We should all be there to help one another. When I eat, I want to make sure everybody else is eating. I have no hate, no jealousy. I have no competitors as far as I'm concerned.
No, because no one's Melissa. You're the only Melissa.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you don't.
And everybody has that in themselves, though. What makes you special?
Yep.
And work it. Work it. Take
That's-
it and run.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. I am 100% positive we're going to have you back on.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. You have no idea how great this feels.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm excited. And we are doing a giveaway in April, but send me your address in Instagram. I'm going to send you a hat and a bumper sticker.
That's exciting. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So send me over your address. I want to send that to you. They're in the process of getting done right now, so you should get it in a week or so.
Sweet. And when I get your stuff, I'll be sure to send you Lady Exterminator water bottle or something fun in the mail.
Awesome. Thank you. You have a good one, Melissa.
You too. Take care. Have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So there you have it. You know, a little bit about Melissa. She's been on the podcast before, Women in the Pest Control Industry. And that was a ton of fun. That was awesome to hear kind of her story on how she got into creating her own business and the struggles she went through. Be sure to take that in, learn from it, use it to break off from your company if you need to do that. If you're seeing that they're not doing something that you could do better, use that, but be prepared for the struggles. There is going to be hard times out there. There is going to be times that you're not doing the best. And this is going to be just remember, you can come back to this episode, listen to it. This is something that's going to be supportive, and you know that it's going to happen. It's not a secret out there. It's not like, you start and everything goes great. That's not how it always is. So she's been on an 8-year journey. If you go back and listen to the podcast on Aversion, that guy was, creating a product for 7 years. So be prepared to spend some time in it. It's not an overnight process. Everyone sees the overnight success, but it's never overnight. So once again, we are doing a giveaway for this month, NPMM, so National Pest Management Month. And how you're going to do that is you need to go into Instagram, follow, leave a comment, but tag 3 technicians, okay? And then go into the website and go to the contact us and send us an email to be part of the email, the email list that we send out. Sorry, I can't think of the word right now, but go in there and then send that. If you do those 3 things, I'm going to be sending a hat to the first 5 people who do that, as well as bumper sticker. And then anybody who does that, who just happen to fall right outside of those 5 people, I'm going to send everybody a bumper sticker no matter what. So still go in and do it. But when you're in the contact us, make sure that you are leaving your address. Okay. If you don't put your address in there, I'm not sending you anything because I can't. So make sure that you're going to put your address in there. And thank you so much for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.